Sup nerds, Big Tommy T here, talking about the loop. You don't even get an intro. It's not worth it. We don't need to do it.
They knew who I am.
This is a co-op game. I mean, it has the basic co-op game shit. Like, there's a board state, there's the bad stuff you have to clean up, and the good stuff you have to do. Right?
Like, and the bad stuff just keeps tumbling onto the board.
It gets more and more, right?
Like, desperately struggling to clean it up. And at some points you're like, oh, we've cleaned up everything. And then all of a sudden it's like, we're so far from winning.
Yeah. So, I mean, at its core, it says it's a deck building game because you have a deck of cards and those are your actions.
And you do add to that deck.
Correct.
But
I think deck building might give you the wrong idea because you'll just draw 3 cards and then you sort of go through tapping them or whatever.
Exhausting.
To do the action that they say. But there's not a lot of combo-y type things that you would think with deck building.
Yeah.
And you don't really build a huge deck because some of the cards are better than others, but again, they're not that different. You know what I mean?
And there's also plenty of rounds where you just don't get any cards. Like, I felt like instead of going, because you get to pick a card from whatever era you end up in. Like, whatever cards are in that era, you could pick one of those. I felt like that was like a bonus. Like, I did my turn, oh, there's cards here. I get one. Maybe there's only one, so I'll just get it. Or there's 2, and I'll like, this one sounds cooler.
Granted, we could totally just be playing it, not wrong, but like the way that most people don't play it. Most people really are hyper-focused on the cards more, you know?
I feel like because there's so many different things that happen, like, you know, in order to complete a mission, you have to end your turn in that era. In order to, like, there's a few different things that, to me, the incentive of getting new cards, like, didn't really seem like it took a precedent over tons of other things that would make
like making sure the red cubes don't overload, so we have a...
Yeah.
What were these things called?
Those are the vortexes?
Vortex! That's what it's called. I was pretty drunk when we played it, so I don't remember. But yeah, so the bad stuff on the board is cut into these, 7 sections? Yeah, these eras. The bad things on the board are the red cubes and the little discs, which are clones of Dr.
Foe.
Yeah. And the red cubes
Tom
are cool.
doesn't care about that.
It doesn't matter. The red, so, I mean, obviously, they're not called red cubes, right? They're called something, but I don't care. But the cool way about how they are distributed is there will be like Dr. Foe's era is this, yellow section of the board, and then you'll have this thing point. So the middle one is pointing at his era, and then there's the 2 adjacent eras, and then you just drop cubes down, and it like distributes them, and it really does kind of work. You do have to like he was doing, drop them kind of high, and like let him fumble, because if you I guess you could kind of cheat and try and drop them in there.
No, but that's not the feel of the game. Like, it does do a decent job randomizing things, though. In a cool, this is fun. And, to some extent, I want games to be fun. There is a toy aspect to them that I enjoy. I want to play with them. Yeah. So, having this there, it is fun to, everyone's like, where's it going to go? If it goes here, it busts. We're just going to drop it. And, good, it went there.
And we're like, okay, we have to drop 4 cubes this round, so first cube doesn't go there, second cube doesn't go there, so that means these next 2 cubes, even if they both go to this area that we're worried about, will be fine, right? And what we're talking about there is that's what causes these rifts, vortexes to happen, is when there's 4 cubes there that blows up and it's pretty bad. That's one way you can lose, is if you have too many of those. And then these bad guys also cause problems, and this is another thing you have to take care of. But how you win is there are all these little goals, little tasks that keep flipping up. So and you have to do a certain number of these. So it's also possible that the thing you have to do to win is different from game to game because of the combination of these that come up.
Yeah.
For example, the ones that we did, and they are, of course, things you have to do anyways. They're just a bit more specific.
But it strives to, hey, do that in this area as opposed to, just trying to clean the board up.
Yeah, so there be no red cubes and no clones in the era that you're in. You'll be able to put a success on here. Once you have 3 successes, and they have to be in different eras, well, hey, that's how you win this task. They're one of the 4 you have to do to win. Same thing, destroy a clone, a little disc, in the era that Dr. Foe is in that round. Boom, if you do that 4 times, you complete this task, right? So again, you want to clear off the cubes and clear off the clones and things like that. So a lot of the tasks aren't necessarily an extra thing you have to think about. We have to clear off the red cubes, we have to clear off the clones, and we have to do the task, we have to do these two things and hope that they match with the task, if that makes sense.
And so the looping aspect to it, the time travel aspect, is, I guess, like, each of the zones is a different era in time, so you're time traveling constantly. But the looper mechanic is with the green cubes, you can spend them on your turn to, like, reset cards of one. Like, you pick one of these symbols and reset them. And so when you use your 3 cards, if you can, like, have it right where you have a green cube and the right symbols, you can unexhaust those cards, which is like they're rewinding and you get to do them again.
Because you do, it's not a set number of actions. I mean, you have a set number of cards, but if there's a bunch of green cubes there, you can loop, and have a really big turn, which feels really great when you do that.
It is, cool. And it's a fun mechanic, you know.
And that is, but you can only, like, when you spend a cube to loop, you only untap a certain symbol, right? So if all 3 of your cards have different symbols, that's not good. But if they're all at the same symbol, you untap all of them.
And there's a decent amount of cards that just don't have a symbol because they're super powerful cards.
Yeah. So that is an aspect of the deck building thing that I guess we weren't really talking about.
And we definitely saw some combos happening where, like, all right, this card lets me do this thing, and this card lets me add a green cube. I'll spend that green cube to zzz, and then I do that thing again, and then I can tap this to get another green cube, and then rewind it again. Like,
so there certainly is. We were downplaying the deck building earlier. It just felt to us like not the main focus. But maybe for other players who have a different play style and who are okay with the board getting more messy and just so they can get their perfect thing, maybe that'll be a bigger deal for them.
I will say that overall, I did really enjoy the game. I thought it was a fun play. It was a good co-op where you felt the struggle. You felt tense at times. It had that, like, oh my gosh, we got to work together. You got to take care of this. I'll take care of this so that you can go over there. Like, it definitely had that, like, all those elements that did make a fun, enjoyable co-op game.
I agree. I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to because, in general, co-op games have been dropping down for me. Like, the more
there's just so many of them. Like,
there are so many, and they do, at their core, feel the same, right? Like I said earlier, it's like you have the bad stuff you have to keep track of, and then the good thing you have to do, and it's balancing acts of those two things, and it's fine. So in general, I'm liking co-op games less, but this one was surprisingly good. My biggest complaint would probably be actually the card action selection thing, is that if you really need to do a certain thing, in order for us to complete this last thing, all I need to do is destroy this one clone. None of the cards I drew let me do that. Yeah. Now I know that's a deck building thing, but still, it's just drawing, and there's no real way to, like, be like, okay, well, I'm just going to burn these 2 cards to do the one action I need to do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And there are also, can't talk today, there's also extra game modes, which really is like adding a couple more mechanics and more difficulty, which is cool. I'm glad they have that. I like that idea. But much like campaign games, right? If they were to advertise, oh, this is a campaign, or it's legacy, resettable campaign, whatever, that becomes less and less of a selling point to me. You know, like, I'm like, well, if I were to try out all the new stuff, I mean, let's just put it all together and try all the new mechanics. But I don't think it really works that way.
Yeah,
I think
use this mechanic or this mechanic, which gives you some very, like, some people it says it's like 4 different games, but it's the same game with a tweak.
Yeah, it's like movie with an alternate ending, or no, deleted scenes. It's a different movie with the deleted scenes. It's the same movie.
I also felt like some of the missions that came out were just like, well, we're definitely not doing that thing.
This one?
No, it wasn't that one. It was the one that, like, you have to have green cubes in all the areas and have. I know we lost it because we just said, don't worry about that one. Add 1 green cube to this era. Well, there is at least 1 green cube on every era. You have to do that 3 times.
That's pretty hard.
Like, that was one, and, like, you may set up where that's like, oh, we've got green cubes everywhere. Perfect. Let's just do it.
Buy a lot of cards that do that, but he's right that it could just everything could just work out to where that's never going to happen.
And the problem with that for me was that because you spend the green cube so often to do stuff, that, like, all the other objectives were like, do the good stuff, but just do it right here. That one is like, stop doing good stuff so that you can get green cubes out there. Mm-hmm. That, you know, I was like, oh, not doing that one.
Yeah.
But again, overall, really enjoyable game. I really did enjoy the production quality of it. The little turn cube dropper thing was really fun.
Super huge meeple things.
So if you're looking to check it out, there will be a purchase link down in the description box down below where you can get one.
Yep, we highly recommend you do that. We also highly recommend you check out Game Toppers. You must be thinking, wow, look at that awesome table these nerds are filming on. It's a Game Topper, bro.
So click that link down in the description box below to check it out. Either way, guys, make sure you subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored.
Bring it on, big Tom. Wes. You're Wes. I'm Tom. We'll switch that in editing.